Hey guys, my name is Maria Park, and welcome to Approach the Nerd. And we are reviewing the Mortal Kombat movie that I was waiting for a very long time. I finally had a chance to watch it last night with my family. So, as promised, I said I was going to do a review today. I wanted to do it 4 p.m. Unfortunately, we had some router issues, so I had to wait for a tech. And I've also been feeling like crap all day. So, because our weather's been changing and it's been raining, but I'm going to do my best to keep my energy up for this review because, yeah, we're talking about Mortal Kombat. Now, did I like this movie? Yes. Did I think that the story was great? I'm on the fence. Like, I loved a lot about this movie. The CG on this movie was amazing. The fight scenes were well choreographed. The gore was on point. The only problem I actually had was kind of the story element, only because it felt kind of rushed and it made me ask a lot of questions. But all right, so if you're in this, you know that you've watched this movie, so I don't have to do a full recap. But basically, the movie starts off with the Lin Kuei assassins led by Bihan, who will later be Sub-Zero, attacking his rival members of the Shirairu ninja clan, headed by Hanzo Hasashi, who eventually will become Scorpion. And that whole scene is so messed up. Like Bihan just going in and basically taking out, Hanzo's wife and son. Although the wife was able to hide their baby girl underneath a floorboard. And miraculously, this baby never cried, which is interesting because the baby was crying all the way up to the point where they put the baby in the floorboard. So I was like, that's interesting. But, Bihan wanted to get rid of Hanzo's bloodline. So he kills the wife and son, and then they fight, and it's a pretty good fight, but eventually, Bihan overtakes Hanzo and ends up mortally wounding him. He doesn't die right away. He actually dies when he's crawling to save his baby girl because he hears the baby crying. What's interesting is Raiden in this movie always seems to show up after everything happens. Like for an elder god. I know the elder gods are not allowed to interfere, but I'm just like, if he was there for Hanzo to potentially be in a tournament, which I'm assuming is why he was even why Raiden was even involved in this. Maybe he was coming to get Hanzo, and they might have said this in the movie. I might have missed it. He got there after he died. So it's like, why? And this happened a lot in the movie. Like Raiden would just like go places. I don't know where he was going, but like when all this shiz was hitting the fan, it's like Raiden was off doing something else. Like for instance, so the Void. So we know in the game, the Void is where all the Elder Gods go, and they overlook everything. So if you're thinking like Power Rangers and they're the Morphin Masters, they're just sitting back watching everything, and they're not allowed to interfere. Well, in the movie, Raiden basically takes the remaining members of his team off to the Void because he's like, oh, well, Shao Kahn he can't, enter this space. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, then why in the heck didn't you have them training there to begin with? It's like, why didn't you? Kung Lao would be alive as you let them all train in the Void. They didn't need to be in this monastery, in this temple. That I was very confused. Very, very confused by that. And this may be showing my age. Again, I'm in my 40s. I played this game when I was in graduating high school. Saw the movie when I graduated. I think it came 2 months after I graduated. The first original live action Mortal Kombat movie came out in 1995. That is literally the year I graduated from high school. So I'm used to seeing Liu Kang a certain way. And Liu Kang, adorable actor. He was very weak in this movie. It's like they sacrificed Liu Kang to make Cole be more of the protagonist in this movie, which is very interesting. It's very, very interesting to me because somehow Scorpion's bloodline became more important than Liu Kang's destiny, if that makes sense. This is just me. It's not a gripe or anything. It was just something I noticed that was very interesting. It also leads me to another question about Cole. So if Cole is descendant of Hanzo, then that means that the baby girl that was saved is his great great grandmother, great great grandmother, whatever. Does that mean, because they make it seem like Cole is the only one of Hanzo's bloodline that was one of the chosen ones for the tournament? I mean, wouldn't you think that Hanzo's bloodline, because obviously the bloodline persevered because he's here in the present in the Earth realm. So, and like it was like late 1700s when Hanzo died, or basically went down to hell to become Scorpion. So, if he is a descendant, wouldn't that mean that other members, kind of like how Kung Lao is the descendant of the original Kung Lao that won the tournament? Wouldn't that mean that Cole would have that same legacy? I'm just really curious about that. And I love the fact that they specifically said that Hanzo and Bihan did not understand each other because Bihan speaks Chinese, and of course, Hanzo speaks Japanese. So they're rival clans that don't speak the same language. But for me, the whole scene where Cole gets taken into the ice realm, that's what I'm calling it, the whole ice realm, nightmare realm, probably isn't the nightmare realm, but I'm going to call it that. Sub-Zero drags him through the portal to fight him. And then, of course, we have Hanzo's Scorpion Hell, redemption angel come back to fight him. There's a part where Hanzo is talking to Cole saying, take care of my bloodline and all that. And he's speaking completely in Japanese. And I'm like, well, Cole is an orphan. So how the hell does he know what you're saying? He doesn't know what you're saying to him. So, and then, of course, Raiden shows up after everything is all like literally Hanzo and Cole are double teaming Sub-Zero, which is so interesting that Scorpion needs help fighting Sub-Zero in this movie. But yeah, they're double teaming and everything. Cole's able to free his family. All of this stuff happens, and then Raiden and everyone comes, and I'm like, okay. I don't understand that. That's something that was very strange for me. And like I said, and as far as the story goes, it's interesting. We don't know how Cole met his wife. We just know he has a wife and a daughter, and that he was at one point put in the exact same position as his great grandfather Hanzo. We do know that Sonya and Jax served together in the military, and that Jax took someone down and ended up getting the mark from him, which makes me question. We also know that Kano did the same thing. He killed someone and got the mark from that person. Well, if Hanzo was actually being recruited by Raiden, which I'm assuming now, I don't know. I have to go back and look at the movie again. I might have missed this at the very beginning, but I thought the reason Raiden was coming there was to get Hanzo, but he was too late. And so he ended up saving the baby. If that's the case, that tells me that Hanzo was a chosen one to go fight in the tournament. So then essentially, does that mean when Sub-Zero mortally wounded him and he eventually died, did that mean the mark went on to Bihan before he became Sub-Zero? I have questions. I just have questions. I don't know. It's just very, very interesting. Now, I have to say some good things. I love Jessica, I think her name is McNamee, as Sonya Blade. I really, really liked her. I didn't like the fact that she wasn't originally a chosen one, because there's not been a reality where Sonya Blade has not been a chosen one. But I digress. Whatever. I like how she got it. I mean, she literally killed, Kano. It was very foreboding. Like when they were walking in the desert trying to find the temple that they were supposed to go to, the train, and she basically, they started fighting and she took him out. And then she was like, he was like, well, kill me and you'll take the marking. And she kind of looked like she really wanted to do it. And then later on, she ends up doing it, anyway, killing him anyway, in her own home. Side note to the scenery, it is very evident that they were filming this in Australia, because a lot of the terrain and everything looked just like Australia. So I thought that was pretty interesting, even though we were not supposed to be in Australia. So I don't know. I think my biggest complaint, if I have a complaint, because again, I enjoyed the movie, it's Mortal Kombat. And again, the fight scenes were on point and the CG was amazing in this movie. It's just the story. It's like everything moved in a very weird way. Like Luke, not Luke, oh Lord have mercy. Jax found Cole very quickly. And then we went from that point where he got his butt kicked. Cole got his butt kicked in the match to going out to eat with his wife and daughter. Jax at that point had already introduced himself and he was already in the car, and then Sub-Zero attacks. It's like bam, 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 bam. It's like there wasn't time for people to have character development. Like look at Melina. Melina had brought 3 or 4 lines in the whole freaking movie, and one of them was opening her mouth so her teeth was really really big and just growling. So there really wasn't enough, like, I guess, character exposition for me to really care about these characters. The only reason we were even rooting for, Raiden's team is because they represent Earthrealm, and if they didn't win, all of Earth was enslaved. So, I mean, that's the general story we've known throughout the whole video game history of Mortal Kombat. So we always know to care about these characters, but at the same time, there was not a lot of interaction. There was no bonding between any of them. They just were literally a team. Like, honestly, they were literally just a team, like automatically. It's like, hey, we're going to fight to the death. Cool. All right, cool. The only people that really, to me, had a bond were Jax and Sonya and Liu Kang and Kung Lao. And Cole was just kind of like on the sidelines, and Kano was an asshole. So, I mean, which again, he's an asshole anyway. But I just think it was interesting. And like, I will say realistically, Kano becoming a traitor and trying to go to the other side. Yeah, that I bought that, because he was actually more of the comedy relief / the person you wanted to smack the hell out of through the entire movie. So it makes perfect sense. Them getting their special abilities too, being triggered by different things. Like, of course, they had to tick, Kano off for him to get his laser eye. They all got their different abilities. Jax got it when a rock had fallen and basically Sonya was trapped. And then he was able to lift up with superhuman strength, and you saw his arms actually form their usual casing. That was pretty cool. I don't know. I really feel like there were instances where it was cool, but then there was instances where it was kind of like, meh. Just like another question. So Louis Tan's fighting style is mixed martial arts. He's an MMA fighter. So are we to believe that the reason he automatically knew ninjutsu is because he had the blood of Hanzo? I'm just curious about this, because I watch a lot of anime and a lot of like martial arts films and TV series. And like, I look at stuff like Rurouni Kenshin and like, Storm Riders, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Like all of these people had to train for years to master, even if they are like descendants of whatever, to train to master these certain styles. And he just like came in and did it. It was almost like Cole was a Power Ranger. He reminded me of a Power Ranger. He was even motivating. Come on, guys, it's not too late. I'm like, oh my gosh. And Blurred said something to me before I saw this movie that was interesting. And normally we don't talk about spoilers, but he said it was very off-putting when they kept putting in all of the video game references. Like, we know fatalities, if they did a bestiality, whatever, we know what they are in the game. But it's like the fact that the characters were saying it, like they were like, Kano wins, or if somebody else says fatality or whatever. And I'm like, it's not the same when Shao Kahn's not doing it. It's like, when your own, if I was beating somebody and I'm like, fatality, flawless victory. And I'm like, it's very off-putting. Just like when Kung Lao was very badass in this. I was very upset that he got his soul sucked out so early on. But it was just him doing these cool fight scenes and coming in and doing these like amazing moves, and then him just saying, Kung Lao wins, fatality or whatever. It's just it just separates you. It's so strange to me. I don't know. But Kung Lao, I'm telling you, if there was one character in this whole movie that I said was badass, it was Kung Lao. He was who I was rooting for. Even Liu Kang was like, well, Kung Lao's dead, we're screwed. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not screwed, because you've got Cole. And Cole is a whole ass Power Ranger. So, I mean, he's going to win, because that's how they wrote it. If anybody else was going to die in that, it was not going to be Cole, because that's just how that is. But yeah. So yeah, every time I watched the scene, I kept having more and more questions. Like, I was just like, why is Raiden so slow in responding? Like, when everyone came over, from Outworld, and they're just like, just standing there, and Raiden like has this conversation with Raiden. I was already like, okay, so all of the opposing team is killing the Earth Realm team, which is illegal, but the Elder Gods can't get involved. And then you have your own rules in the Earth Realm. So you have to stick to your rules in the Earth Realm, but no other realm does. It didn't make sense. Like, technically speaking, there was not a tournament. They did not have a tournament in this movie. They literally had sides taking each other out. So then essentially, who actually won? Yeah. Yeah. I will say it's cool that they've alluded that they're getting Johnny Cage. We saw a poster for his movie. Cole's like, I'm heading to Hollywood. I get it. That's how, because so many people were like, oh my God, Johnny Cage's not in this movie. I'm like, obviously he's going to be in the sequel. You know, Katana wasn't in there. And, you know, that's my girl. So obviously they're going to get Katana for the sequel because, you know, they need more people. We'll probably have Jade and a bunch of other people in the sequel. This was just the first movie, but because, you know, we did get Garo. We got a bunch of, you know, we got, you know, Cabal. We got cool characters. It's just that these were, in a way, expendable. They didn't have, like, Cabal had a few good lines. Melina had, I'm telling you, 4 lines and a growl. Goro just growled. You know, Sub-Zero really did all the work in that situation. But I mean, I feel like everyone that was on Shogun's team all had, like, what was the motivation other than just wanting to please their master and conquer the Earth Realm? There was nothing. There was no, and I realize it's a lot of villains don't have camaraderie, but I'm so used to seeing them work more together, and not having the tournament was just weird. Having them just like, Raiden, can you send us anywhere? Sure. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. My name is Cole. I am the Power Ranger leader, and I have a plan. I'm like, and then he just sends them all off to fight. And Cole is literally sitting there assigning like all these different roles to people, and I'm just like, okay. I'm like, this is so strange. This is really, really strange. And I am not one of those that's opposed to. I'm not opposed to having original, characters. It's just that he was such a Power Ranger. I can't. That's all I kept thinking. Every time he would open his mouth, I would think Power Ranger. I mean, Cole's gonna morph. I mean, he was. He's gonna freaking morph. When he got his suit, you know, when he was fighting, and his, his wife and daughter. Which, by the way, Goro is not that slow. He should have been able to take the daughter and the mother out like that. I don't understand that at all. But, you know, to play devil's advocate and have Cole be the hero of this movie, he was slower in killing in this the scene where he was trying to take out Cole and his family. And that Goro's motivation to kill the family was motivation for Cole to beat his ass and then slice him up. And, you know, that's fine. That is fine. But yeah, that entire suit of armor thing, it had like King Arthur, you know, Camelot / Red Ranger power up, you know, superpower power up suit that they normally get in Power Rangers. That's kind of what it looked like. I'm like, oh, he got his power up, and it kept glowing red. And then I started thinking, okay, I got a little bit of Ruby feels with Yang, the character Yang. I'm like, okay, so the more he's hit, the more he can take the attack and the stronger he gets. That's what I thought was happening. I still don't know if that's what was happening. I'm gonna be real with you. He kept getting hit. He kept glowing red. I'm like, okay, is that the impact building him up? And then he gets these like 2 like blades, and then he starts chopping up Goro, which did look cool. But what the hell is his power? I'm like, is he super strong? I mean, it looked like he was super strong. It looked like he could have been super fast. I don't know. I can't tell you what Cole's ability is. Other than that suit. Yeah, there were some questions on that. And then like, and even back with Sub-Zero, the whole fight with Sub-Zero, I just don't get why it took both Hanzo and Cole to fight Sub-Zero. I mean, Hanzo came from hell. You know, he literally rose from hell, the nether realm. What? Why? You're doing a death match, like Sub-Zero's doing a death match with somebody who's already dead. I'm like, no, I didn't understand that. So I will say the final fight scene with Cole, Hanzo, and Sub-Zero was a little much for me. I think that if they were going to have an all-out fight, it should have been a redemption fight for Hanzo, and it should have just been Hanzo and Sub-Zero, or basically Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Cole should have been left out of that. It should not have been a team effort by the whole family, you know. And also, does that mean that Cole's daughter may be the next in line since she's also Hanzo's blood? That's interesting too, right? And then also, would Cole inherit Scorpion abilities? Because I feel like if the grandfather became Scorpion, I just don't know where this suit of armor came from. I don't know what this is supposed to be. Because again, it's original. It's never been in the game. I don't know what it is. But if he is the blood of Hanzo, you would think he would inherit. Like Kung Lao got the hat and the fighting style, hell, probably even the same outfit, then he should have gotten a Scorpion type thing, even though I know Hanzo was basically baking, you know, he's being made and baked in hell. Just makes interesting. But I want to know if the daughter is destined to be in the next tournament because she's an original character too. So there's just so much. There's so much. There's so many questions that I was left with. But overall, I did enjoy the movie. The story, not so much, but everything else, cinematography, CG, fights, like the gore level, all of that was on point. But I do have to say again that I felt like Liu, they just, for some reason, Liu Kang became like character assassinated because he was sweet. He was a sweet, the actor they got to play him was sweet. He acted sweet. He was adorable. But sweet and adorable are not two things I'm used to associating with Liu. So that's that took some getting used to. Kung Lao though, very, very cool. Kung Lao was on point to me. He was probably the most realistic character for me in the game. Raiden was cool, but I don't know where I'm telling you, I don't know where the hell Raiden was going. Raiden was like, you know, first he put up the shield and he was like, okay, can't come in. Well, I'm off to live my best life. You know, it's cocktail hour. I'm going over here and get a drink. And he just goes away and all the shit happens. And I know that when they were getting attacked, you know, when Kano betrayed them and let the shield down, and he was like, Raiden was thanking Shang Chi. He's like, thank you for helping me, you know, helping one of my fighters basically get his ability, referring to Cole. And I'm like, okay, I get that was your plan, but you don't have a lot of fighters left to win this match. So getting them, you know, injured to the point where they potentially cannot fight probably wasn't the best plan because that could have gone a completely different way. So I don't even understand what he's doing strategically. So, yeah. Now, would I watch this movie again? Hell yeah. Will I watch this movie again? Yeah. Yeah, especially since I'm trying to figure out the story. But yeah, I'm just kind of disappointed in how rushed the story was and how the story didn't flow the way I think it should flow. Blurred had made a point. We were talking and he was like, he didn't like how scenes would just abruptly end. And I really didn't like that either. Like you're talking about something and it looks like you're going to say something else and it just moves on to another scene. I saw that in the movie last night. I'm like, yeah, there are points where I'm like, they really could have expanded it. So I was like, whoever was in the editing room, I don't know, they didn't get their sneakers. So they just were like, well, F all that, you know, it's just really weird. But yeah. So if I were going to grade this movie though, I wouldn't give it a bad grade. It would be somewhere like a B+. The original Mortal Kombat movie, I will say in terms of them having the tournament was a little better because they got to have the tournament. There are aspects of the cheesy Mortal Kombat movie that actually were pretty good. I can't down it because, you know, it's my teenagehood. You know, I'm nostalgic for that movie. Was it the best movie in the world? Hell no. Like, no, not in any scope of imagination. But at least they tried to flow the story. This one was kind of like, is this a revenge movie for Hanzo? Is this discovery movie for Cole? Is this a Raiden has PMS and just wants to tell Shang Chi to screw off? Is this are we actually fighting for Earth right now? I mean, what are we doing? Are we forming a Power Ranger team? Yes. So We got the Red Ranger. That would be Cole. So I guess if we're really going down the line, we know Sonya's pink. Jax has to be blue because we're not trying that again. Saban, we're not making the Black Ranger black. And that would leave Liu Kang, I guess, as black or green. Go MK Rangers. Like, that's what I got. Let's see. Mortal Kombat, the new Power Rangers. I mean, at the end of the movie, when they were playing the techno version of the Mortal Kombat song, which I'm going to tell you, I did not like the song, the new version of the song. I liked the original version, the dance version. Love it. So they should have just recycled it. I did not like it at all. Let's see. True, along with Liu Kang in Deadly Alliance. Liu Kang was just so weak. I mean, he had one good move, and that's when Cabal was in the like quicksand like crap, and then he literally did his fire dragon, and I was like, okay, you could have done that like way before he got trapped. I do not understand. I do not understand. Liu Kang, what were you doing? What were you doing? Kung Lao was also killed in the MK Deadly Alliance. Yes, he was, but I just feel like they killed him way too quickly in this movie. Like, way too quickly. But again, if you go back and count how many lines, Kung Lao has, they probably would not have exceeded 8 or 9. So it seemed like Cole had all of the lines. Sonya had like the second amount of lines. Jax probably had the third. Raiden had 4th, and then everybody else was kind of like grunts or whatever, except for the side characters. And I think the wife probably had 5 or 6, and the daughter may have had 5 or 6. But like, no, Cole had all the lines. Hanzo had he had a monologue, and then he died, and then he had a mini monologue when he came back. Sub-Zero had 9 lines. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. I think Kung Lao living longer would have made this movie a lot better story-wise for me, because he was a legacy character. So, and what I mean by that is his ancestor won the tournament. Everybody else just sucked. Everybody else died, and it just sucked. So yeah. Let's see here. Me too. Kung Lao did get killed. Yes, I know he got killed. We had the superheroes, and he did have it. He should have had a cape. It would be awesome. Now I was telling them that him and that hat blade, man. Even in the game, I was like, "Yep," like Kung Lao. I love how confident he was, but yeah, I knew something was going to happen when he interfered, when he was saving someone. I knew somebody had to die. It just sucked that it was Kung Lao. Regardless of what happens in the game, regardless of what happened in the side comics that they made for Mortal Kombat, I understand that Kung Lao is destined to always die. But I just figured, since we were doing our own thing in this one, he may live a little bit longer. And Liu Kang should have been the one that won the tournament instead of Cole. But again, there was no tournament. So I guess I need someone to explain to me how this works. Did they win since Earthrealm, killed off all of Shao Kahn's, fighters? Does that mean they win? But then a lot of the Earthrealm fighters were killed too. So is that a draw? How does this work? I mean, there was not an official tournament for Earthrealm. They were just killing each other. Is that the same thing? Because then why go through the whole ceremony? Just take each other out at the home in the streets. I don't understand. I don't get it. The suit reminded me of Iron Bell shirt kung fu training. Yeah. It reminded me of that. And then also, not Ronin Warriors. There was another Japanese cartoon where they have like suits of armor. I have to go find it again. It's old, I think back in the 70s, but it kind of reminded me of that. Dad uppercut. So that's his power. Cole's power is a dad uppercut. Okay, so we're street fighters now. I got you. Now that you brought up Power Rangers, if they made the show for adults, Shao Kahn and Outworld would make great antagonists for them. I mean, I really think that because right now with Dino Fury, I'm starting to see that Void Knight isn't as bad as we think he is, so they may need Shao Kahn. It's all part of the movie. Either you like it or not. Yeah, I agree. I think Cole is the Red Power Ranger. I absolutely think he's the Red Power Ranger. True, Goro's eyes in 95 are hilarious. Yeah, it is a low bar to meet. See, and the thing is, they don't really know, like, there's not really a comparison movie. I'm going to tell you a guilty pleasure of mine, and you guys can make fun of me all day. It's fine. Remember the Dead or Alive DOD live action movie that had Jamie Presley and a bunch of other people in it? Devin Aoki. I actually really like that movie. Yes, there were parts that were weird, like, the chick they cast as Helena, she is not Helena. But overall, the production, the fights, all of that, cheesy as it is, I liked it. Just like this movie has a big cheese factor in terms of story. And every time Cole talks and is motivational, it becomes cheesy to me. Whenever they start saying, flawless victory or fatality on their own fights, it's a little cheesy to me. But it doesn't take away from my enjoyment of the movie. It just means the story was not that great. Or can I really say that this Mortal Kombat story wasn't great? No, I can say it was not finished. It was not fleshed out. That's probably a better way of saying that. They did not flesh out the story. Therefore, I don't think the story was done. So we have a continuation of a story that has very little exposition other than the fact that we know why they need to fight. We don't have a connection with the characters because their stories, they didn't have time to flesh them out. So we don't, I guess they're just, it's like they made a movie for people who have played the game in the past. You should know who these people are outside of Cole. So therefore we don't need to explain it to you. And that's what it feels like. And I don't like that. I feel like if you're going to reinvent these people and you're going to reinvent this and reboot it, you need to do it. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That is where I'm at. How would you rank this movie amongst the 1995 film and Annihilation? Annihilation is crap. It's crap. I did not like Annihilation. The 1995 film, as I said earlier, it's really nostalgic for me because that came out right after I graduated from high school. And it was the very first live action telling of the game that I loved for so long. So I like it because of that. I like a lot of the fight scenes. But it was still problematic. I mean, it was very, very cheesy. That's what it is. It's cheesy. Though it had some on point music, especially it had what was the name of the band? Oh, I just know the name of this band. Or was it Orbital? I think it's Orbital. They did that song Halcyon On and On, and it's the same one they did in the Hackers movie with Angelina Jolie and what's his name from Elementary. If you've seen the Hackers, you know what I'm talking about. So I did like the music, and of course, I will always love the Mortal Kombat song, especially the dance version. I just did not really enjoy it in this one. I don't know. It was so off-putting to me, and I know they're trying to do their own thing, and I understand they took a classic song and they rewrote it and they redid it. But I mean, for me, this wasn't as bad as the Power Rangers Dino Fury opening theme because I don't think a lot is that bad outside of Operation Overdrive. But this, like the remix of that Mortal Kombat song was bad. Like it was not good. It was not good. If they needed to have their music redone and they couldn't find, somebody from the original composer, then they should have gone to Killer Instinct and said, hey, you guys had some dope tracks. Can you hook us up and write us some more original content? I was not happy with this song. I just wasn't. The track for Reptile Slap. I'm telling you, most of the original Mortal Kombat soundtrack was on point. I really love the music in that movie. This one, not so much. Not so much. Plus, I could be wrong, but I think the story in the 05 version was better. Plus, the MK theme rocks. The Mortal Kombat theme was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. The reason I didn't like Annihilation is I think it focused a lot on Katana and her mother and less on why they were actually there. Like, it's just, they do that though. Like, I get what they were doing with that movie, but it wasn't successful. It would have been better as a video game, honestly. Which is kind of bad because what was his name? The original Liu Kang, Robin Shu, I believe. I think he actually was supposed to be in like 3 or 4 movies, and because that one didn't do well, it seemed like his career just dropped. He was actually in Dead or Alive, though. He was one of the ones trying to, I think, hijack Nina Williams' boat, which I thought was kind of fun. But yeah, the original movie used the song more. Yeah, they did. Lefel, I meant the 1995 version. I got what you meant. I got what you meant. Funny piece of trivia. The actor who plays Peter Gamby, James Remar in Black Lightning, also played Raiden in MK Annihilation. The actor deserves so much better than what he got in the 90s. I agree. But I mean, he still showed up more in that movie than Raiden did in this one. Because I'm telling you, I like literally when Sub-Zero grabbed Cole through the portal, why didn't Raiden say, no, that's not what we do here? And then went through and pulled him right back out. Why did he wait for Hanzo and Cole to finish off Bailin? And before he even popped over with everybody else, he's like, hey, what's up? What did we miss? You know what you missed. You've been literally standing by for half an hour waiting for this to be done. Like, why? Why? And if everybody's allowed in the void, I still will never understand in this movie why we just didn't train there to begin with. Kung Lao would be alive. Everybody would be trained. We wouldn't have to worry about people coming in and trying to attack us. Why did we have to train in this temple, which you've already said was not safe, and they can come for us at any time when you had a realm that nobody could touch? Why? And I really do want to know if Sub-Zero had a mark, because if Hanzo was one of the chosen ones, and that's why Raiden was coming to get him, but he was again too late, doesn't that mean the moment he died, it transferred over to Sub-Zero? Because that's interesting. Just playing by their rules in this movie. Yeah, it's just very confusing. Let's see. I felt like MK Annihilation was rushed, in my opinion. It was. I mean, we never know what happens behind the scenes. We can only generalize. But more than likely, they had a deadline. Because I know when Sam Raimi was doing Spider-Man 3, I think at the time he only wanted Sandman, and then they pressured him into adding, pretty much having Venom in it, and then of course having Harry and Goblin involved. It's just all of this stuff together, like, made it seem like it would be a bigger blockbuster, but all it did was make it convoluted as hell and all over the place. And then they let Tobey Maguire do that creepy dance too in the movie, so it just really threw everything off. They're kind of doing it again, except for now they're doing the Spider-Man or Spider-Verse route in the new Spider-Man movie. So I think it'll be better well received, because a lot of people like Spider-Verse, and we know it's supposed to be convoluted and all over the place. So they have that going, for it. But I think with MK2, it was definitely an issue of probably the studios wanting more and more and bigger and better and rushed. You have this deadline, you got to do it by this time. They want to have it released at this time. And so it's a lot of pressure. So I can't blame the actors. I can't blame the director solely. It's normally the producers that mess everything up, unfortunately. MK Annihilation was trash. It's way too cheesy. And the fight with Sonya was so male fan service. Of course. They had to make her shorts a lot shorter. Of course it did. And Jax was a ghetto mess. Yeah, they did not. I love Jax in this, though. I will give you that. Jax in this was cool. Why did Raiden keep waiting around before getting involved, Maria? Do you think the CW has a monopoly on piss plot induced? I love it. Stupidity sometimes. I love it. The piss mythology. I don't think so. No, I don't think CW is the only one subscribed to piss. I think there are a lot of network studios and private entities that also subscribe to piss. So yeah, I don't know what Raiden was doing. I mean, did he have diarrhea? I'm confused. Where did he go? Like, why was he always leaving? I get he wanted Cole to discover his ability by watching his family be in mortal peril, and that was going to unlock, his semblance, basically, so he can go fight. I understand. But why were you doing it all the time? Like, all the time. And I tell you, I am put off because we did not get to see Kung Lao fight Sub-Zero. I wanted that fight. I wanted, instead of Jax being in the car waiting outside to protect Cole's family from Sub-Zero, I wanted Kung Lao to show up and fight him. That would have been on point. But again, we didn't get a tournament. So I guess maybe we'll get a tournament in the second movie when they go pick up Johnny Cage. Maybe we'll get Katana. I mean, maybe we'll get Jade. I mean, there's a lot. Oh, we probably won't get Shiva, but for me, and this is just my opinion, Mortal Kombat, it was a Mortal Kombat movie because there were mortals combating each other. It should have been Mortal Annihilation because they were killing each other. But there was no tournament involved. The Earth Realm, I don't even know if Earth Realm is safe. I have no idea who won this. There's no winner because there was no tournament. And if the rules are we have to fight in a tournament and you're not fighting in a tournament, you're fighting in Sonya's trailer park and you're fighting, in the middle of nowhere, you're fighting, in these different areas, then how is that a competition? It's not a competition. It's them hunting each other like Predator style. It's very weird. I don't know. It's weird. Sometimes when studios are making a film that already has a devout fan base, they just take it for granted the fan base will like it and don't put in the quality the production needs. I agree with that. Like I'm telling you, they made this movie for Mortal Kombat fans and, expecting us to already understand where Liu Kang came from, what's going on with Kung Lao. The whole story for all these people were supposed to be already known. So we only really need to know about Cole and his connection to Hanzo. And the problem is they didn't even give us a really good story for Cole. We know he has a wife. We know he had a kid. We know he used to fight for $200 in MMA fights that he got his butt kicked in. But what else did we know about Cole? We knew he was an orphan. Why was he an orphan? Why did his family give him up? Was his family, if his family are all descendants of Hanzo, were they not in danger too? Were their bloodlines not? I mean, did Sub-Zero go throughout history looking for Hanzo's bloodline? Because as far as I understand, Sub-Zero thought there was no one else. It was just the wife and the son outside of him. So I don't get it. And you mean to tell me since 90, whenever the heck Hanzo got killed, that not one of his descendants was powerful enough to become a next player in the Mortal Kombat tournament? It's just really strange. It's strange. All of it came down to Go-Go, Power Cole. Generations later, only he has the marking. Okay. Scorpion was badass in this movie. Yes, he was. I love his broken English. Get over here. Like, it was so cool. Sub-Zero was probably my favorite part, if there was a favorite part of this movie. He definitely had the most gruesome and gory parts of this film, CG-wise. He was nasty. He was a nasty man. Nasty. Melina had potential to be badass, but no. Her mouth was gross. They got that right, but no, she wasn't that good. I like when she was like over Sonya and she's like, you don't smell, of a chosen one's blood. So your death would be, basically pointless. You're basically waste of space is what she was really saying. And I'm like, that doesn't seem like Melina. It really just seems like you should just reach in and rip her heart out anyway, just for fighting you. So they made her a little bit more lenient in terms of who she was fighting. So even though you're going to conquer Earth and conquer all the humans, you're not going to take out the woman who was kind of beating your butt for a little while. Yeah, that don't make any sense. Not at all. It was a tie. I believe it. I really don't know what the tie was because, again, there was no tournament. So, yeah, no. Hanzo and Scorpion really was one of the highlights for me. They were the highlights for me. I really wanted a continuation of the original fight. Because really, the only thing that helped Sub-Zero from death was the fact that he could freeze things. If he wasn't able to use his freezing power, Hanzo would have killed his ass. It would have been a very quick victory. He's not saying that he didn't know enough martial arts to put up a fight, but no, that man would have killed him immediately. They should have kept in Johnny Cage. Yeah, I mean, they're saving him. I guess they couldn't have Johnny Cage in because Sonya wasn't a chosen one yet. She didn't really become a chosen one until like late in the movie. And they have this flirtatious thing going. Like Sonya needed to have a reason to be there. I'm surprised they let her into the monastery without a mark. I thought there'd be like some prerequisite, like only people with a mark won't burn up when they enter this realm. But then I realized just how accessible this place really was. Anybody could just walk in, hence why weren't we training in the void? I don't understand that. Kano always talks the mess like he always does. Yeah, I will say, Kano's actor was on point. I didn't have a problem with really anyone in the cast. I didn't have a casting problem. Josh Lawson pulled off Kano, as far as I'm concerned, epically. I had no problem with, what's his name? I think Tadanobu Asano, I think was who played Lord Raiden. I have no problem with that. Mikad Brooks as Jax was fine. I really enjoyed Jackson in this. Ludi Lin was Liu Kang. Again, Liu Kang was adorable. He's like a little martial arts Teddy Ruxpin. That is not how I remember Liu Kang. He's just this sweet little guy. He's like, even when he was talking about how he killed someone and basically got the mark or whatever, and he was saying it in such a sweet and polite way. And I'm just like, this is so weird. It was just very, very weird. So Sissy Stringer as Melina was fine. But I can't really judge her performance 100% because they didn't give her a lot to do other than be pissed off and fight and growl. There really wasn't a lot to her. So I can't really say anything. Nathan Jones as Reiko was fine too, I guess. He's pretty much in the same boat as Melina. There wasn't enough for us to really look at to judge either way. So there was nothing. Cabal's voice actor was good. I can't remember his name, but he was fine. I had no problem with that. Angus Sampson, Mo did Goro, and that was fine. Mel Johnson as Natara was probably in the scene twice and really wasn't, there was nothing. There really was nothing impressive about it. That to me, that was like a throwaway character. So it's like that character literally lasted 10 seconds in battle. Like 10 seconds. I'm like, it is effing Kung Lao. I'm like, so yeah, I had no problem with that. But yeah, the two real main standouts for me was Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and then one of the most badass ones is Kung Lao. I mean, they could have really done a Kung Lao origin story, and I would have been happy. It would have been badass, and just have him a story leading up to meeting everybody on the team. That would have been a good precursor to the actual tournament that we have not gotten yet. We don't have a tournament. So yeah. Has anyone here seen Mortal Kombat Scorpion's Revenge? For me, that is leaps and bounds the greatest incarnation of Mortal Kombat outside of the games. I don't think I've seen Scorpion's Have I seen Scorpion's Revenge? I've seen so many web series, like fan films on Mortal Kombat, that I really have to go back in my brain and think. Because there was one like web series type Mortal Kombat story that was really well done that came out years ago, but I don't know if that's the same thing. I'd have to go back and look. They're probably going to end up recasting the actors like in Annihilation. Maybe. I think Power Ranger Cole is here to stay though. And like I said, for the most part, the casting wasn't the problem. It was, they had an unfinished story. Like it wasn't a story. Like really, this story could have progressed without even having a script. It could have had an outline and it could have ad-libbed this thing because there wasn't enough backstory. So it's, I mean, yeah, it's a thing. Mortal Kombat Scorpion's Revenge was a full-length animated film. I will have to check that out because I've always thought Hanzo's story was very depressing. Let's see. Trying to see if I missed any questions at the top. Reminds me of when Shredder killed Splinter's family except his daughter. Yeah. That was depressing. That was depressing. Oh my gosh. I'm pissed Liu Kang didn't have the giant mullet from the 90s. Yeah. But he did try and do that little I was very happy with that. only a certain amount of people can imitate Bruce Lee, and I think that Leland did pull that one off. But yeah, no, I will definitely watch this movie again. I don't want people to think that I hated it, because I did not hate this movie. I still have the same level of excitement that I had before I saw it. I just have more of a realistic view that the story is not finished. So combat wise, though, I'm like, yeah, kicking out. I have no problem with that. If you ask me the progression and flow of the story, I can't lie to you. I'm going to tell you, like, what story? There was just a bunch of people that all went together to train for fights individually, where they basically either killed their opponent and got a mark, or killed their opponent and potentially stopped them from taking over Earthrealm. Maybe sort of, but even Shao Kahn's like, this isn't the only realm we have. This is just this realm. So that's already told me what he's planning. And which course you play the video games, you already know what he's planning. You know what he's planning. But yeah, the little moments in the movie made up kind of like for lack of story, like the whole nasty scene where Kano spits on the garden gnome, and then that being the object of his death was not wasted on me. I love the symbolism behind that. Careful what you basically spit on. It could come back to bite you in the butt, or in his case, through the head. I did like that. There's just a lot. There's a lot. I just wish we had more. I wish we had more exposition. Like, let's just more backstory. Like, even with Kung Lao knowing that the way to get to awaken the arcana in Kano was to piss him off. Like, and him studying each individual person and trying to see. I did like that. I liked how Kung Lao seemed to be like the most experienced person in all of this movie, even more experienced than Raiden. And that was such a weird thing, because I'm used to Raiden always motivating people, and he was the one that was kind of like, you're all crap. Do what you want. I don't know. I think it's just really weird. Perhaps MK works better as an anime rather than live action. I think you still have potential to do a very good live action movie with this property. I just think they just need to have a better script. That's what I think. The script, it's like taking a very cool movie with extremely good CG, and fight scenes and everything on choreography, scenes, like the cinematography is on point, and then giving them, like, I don't know, a freaking PBS or Nickelodeon script for a TV show that's highly like edited and completely under budgeted. So it's like, this is all we can afford right now. 5 pages of a treatment. Make that work. I'm like, okay, it's all right. Nobody will care because we got flashy fight scenes and CG. And that's what it feels like. And it's stupid. I'm sorry, but I just saw the trailer for Scorpion's Revenge, and it is definitely something. All right. I'll have to check that out. I will have to check that out. I think you have a valid point, Kevin James. I never subscribed to the idea that animation is just a lesser form of live action storytelling. Now, animation can sometimes be a lot better than the manga sometimes, and the live actions put together. I've seen a lot. It's just like how people compare the dub versus subtitled in anime. Like, when you look at shows like Ranma One Half, I love the dub more than I love the Japanese version. Now, I'm a big Megumi Hayashibara fan. I love her as Lena Inverse in Slayers. And I didn't hate her version of Ranma, but there's just something about the dub cast for Ranma that are effing hilarious. I mean, they just work for me. I like both the sub and dub of Slayers, but I'm not going to lie and say that Lisa Ortiz as Lena Inverse isn't hilarious. And, she is. So... yeah, in terms of animation, there's a plenty of animation that trumps even the books, the comics, the manga they're based on. So yeah, I never have a problem with that. To me, it's always the live action that are more challenging. Like when I saw Full Metal Alchemist on Netflix, I was like, what? Even though the Nina scene still got me in the live action one. Actually more, because it was more disturbing to see live action. But yeah, a lot of it, like Death Note, Bleach, all of that is extremely challenging to translate from book to anime to live action. This video game was very cool. This video game was very graphic. But let's be clear. We had story in the game, but it was like cutscenes. Everything else was straight fighting. So they are taking this and they're trying to make plot out of it, where it's not really something they had to worry about 100% in the video game form. So I do understand how challenging that is. But at the same time, I mean, this story, this script was hard because it wasn't finished. It just was not finished. Scorpion's Revenge is one of the best martial arts fantasy films you will ever see. Huh. I still really love, I say this all the time, I really love Storm Riders. If you guys have not seen Ekin Chen and Aaron Kwok in Storm Riders, you are missing out, because it is absolutely effing amazing. Storm Riders is effing amazing. I didn't get to read the comics because I don't speak Chinese, but the movie itself, the original Storm Riders movie, is completely fire. It is badass. And even to me, even today, it's still, aged very well. So, very good movie. I need to see Storm Riders. I'm a Wuxia fanboy. So am I. I'm telling you, Storm Riders is like I said, once you get with Cloud and Wind, or Wind and Cloud, however you want to put them in, whatever order you want to put them in, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It is it's some shit. I think they even have an animated sequel to it on Amazon Prime. It is a very good movie. Very, very good movie. But there's tons of, I have an entire box full of nothing but fantasy martial arts films. I have samurai movies, I'm talking old 1950s, 1960s, Showa Kendo films, because that's what my dad was into. So we used to watch them every Saturday. So love martial arts movies. Love them. That's why I took judo and taekwondo when I was younger, because I was so into it. So to the point where everybody becomes obsessed. Once you start watching these movies, then you want to do it. It's just what it is. You just want to do it. You have to do it because it's cool. It wasn't Power Rangers for me. It was watching these movies. But yeah. There's no reason why we can't have a live action MK with GOT quality writing. I absolutely agree. This, again, story-wise, this still is not the Mortal Kombat movie that I wanted. But I will say, action-wise, it was pretty good action-wise. I'm hoping that this does not follow the normal trope where the original is always better than the sequel. Maybe the sequel will be light years better than the original. We still have Shang Chi, but now, I will say this. I don't understand why Louis Tan was not cast as Shang Chi, because I said this before and I'll keep saying it. Since the character of Shang Chi is supposed to be half European and half Chinese, and Louis Tan is half, as far as I know, he's Eurasian. It makes more sense to cast him than somebody that was fully Chinese, like Simu Liu. This just tells me I don't understand Hollywood and casting. I'm don't get it. But whatever. I didn't like how they portrayed Outworld in this movie. It seems so empty and barren. Nothing like what a powerful empire should look like. I know. And at times I thought we were looking at Dune. Is this Dune, the new script of Dune? Or are we on Tatooine? What's happening? I don't get it. I don't get it. And then also at times, even though I knew Cole was a protagonist, sometimes it felt like it was kind of like Sonya's story, trying to get into her becoming one of the chosen ones. How will it happen? Will she be able to take Kano out and get the mark? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, they kept stressing so much how, Sonya, you're not even a chosen one. You suck. Stand over here. I'm like, this girl has literally been kicking people's ass from the beginning of this movie. Why wasn't she a chosen one? What was it about her that made her not worthy? It's weird. It is weird. But let's see, make sure Mortal Dubstep. That's what that song sounded like, didn't it? I don't know. I just did not enjoy the music in this movie. And that's sad because when you have movies like this, you want to have accompanying kick-ass music when they're fighting and when they're, especially their theme. I did not. And I've always enjoyed the original Mortal Kombat music. Like I've always been like the two games I love playing fighting wise the most have always been Killer Instinct and Mortal Kombat 2. I love 2 more than 3. I know that's probably stupid, but I love Mortal Kombat 2. And I loved Killer Instinct 1. Loved it. I used to play with Orchid. I used to do my 42 hit combo. I played that in the arcade on my lunch break in college. Like back in the day, before we had consoles that we could like play it at home, we had to put a quarter on the machine. That's what I used to do. I used to live in the arcade. Now it's like, what? Like, everything's gotten so much more advanced, and I'm so old, but I still try. I do. I still buy games. I haven't got a PS5. I have a PS4, and I got a Switch because my daughter made me get one, or she actually got it because she's cool that way. But like, I just remember the days with Killer Instinct when I just sit there and play in the arcade, and like there was a glitch whenever you would play. Who was it? I think it was Cinder. Whenever you play with Cinder, if you got past his 36 to 45 hit combo, the entire game would freeze in our arcade, and we never knew if you actually won or lost. It would unfreeze, and then the battle would be over. It'll either say that your opponent won or Cinder won, and we never knew what happened because it would freeze. So I thought that was crazy. Lefel, you can do almost everything at home now. I know. I know you can. You don't ever have to leave your house. It's creepy. It is very creepy. I also didn't like that you could be a chosen one, that you have to be a chosen one to use magic. In the games, Raiden just picked the Earth's most powerful fighters to fight for Earth Realm. I know. And why in the hell was Sonya excluded from that? I'm like, really? I'm like, you accepted, for some reason you expected Kano, but I don't understand this. Like, he was a killer. He had no morals. He was confrontational, aggressive, an a-hole. And then you got this person who was literally a soldier, a war hero, blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, special forces. That means nothing. You don't know how to fight. I'm like, what? I'm like, what were you watching? She literally whooped Kano's butt in the damn desert on the way here. I'm like, all right. Whatever you do, you booze. Okay, I think I read that one. But no, like, I agree with everything that all of you are saying about the scenery in terms of how they, not just how they made Outworld, how they made Earthrealm too. It seemed like Earthrealm only consisted of 4 realms. It's wherever that cabin was, where they were at, wherever Cole was fighting, not fighting, where he was with his family, and then pretty much where Sonya lived. And I don't think there was really anything in Outworld. Well, no, and then there was Japan. Those are the 4 places we saw continuously, but there was nothing else. It would have been really cool if they weren't going to do a tournament, if they just sent them somewhere random, like, now you're fighting in New York. You guys are fighting in London. You guys are fighting in China. You're fighting in Spain. That would have been cool. It would have been very like reminiscent of a video game where you have to choose your location. That would have been very cool, but they didn't think that. They just didn't think that through. I don't know. Kano could even do magic in the game. His powers came from cyborg implants. Yep. Yes, they did. I don't know what it is. I'm telling you, they made a Power Ranger team. They were like, we're gonna go ahead and get a team that's based on aura, and there you go. Masked Man, Flash Man, like all these different Sentai teams that could use like their Tomashi or their souls as inspiration. That's literally what I felt like was happening. This was a Power Ranger Sentai movie. It's like, and Cole was the Red Ranger. So yeah. Should I put them in Power Ranger suits in the thumbnail? That would have been really funny. But when I made this thumbnail, I hadn't watched the movie. So now I have watched it. And it is the Power Ranger team that we probably need. Like, I'm going to get so much hate for this, but I don't care. This is how I feel. I feel like this movie had a lot of Power Ranger elements to it. And that whole motivational scene where they were like in the void and Cole was like, "Come on, guys, we can't give up. We can do it." I'm like, "Go, go, power, Cole." Everybody's just standing around. Cool. Sonya, you're going to fight. Please let me fight the girl with the jagged teeth again. No, you're going to fight Kano. Okay, cool. That's her assignment. Because Cole went from Red Ranger to Zordon, like really quick. And then the real guy who should have been Zordon, aka Raiden, standing in the back saying, "Yeah, I'm just the ones that teleport all of you and makes the shields. That's what I do. It's my job in this movie. That's all I got. I show up 20 minutes late to all parties and fights, but you will get your shield." I'm like, which MK fighter would be Rich Rain or red and green? Well, red is Cole. Absolutely. Jax, as I said earlier, he can't be Black Ranger for obvious reasons, so he's blue. Kung Lao's dead, so he can't be black. Liu Kang, even though I know he traditionally was red, he's got to be blue because most of the Asian Rangers are always typecast in Power Rangers as the Blue Ranger. You can check. My math is right. Sonya's pink. She could be pink, white, or yellow, depending on the series. I want to say she'd be more like the Yellow Ranger because most of the Yellow Rangers are the really badass ones, but Yuri and Time Ranger was pretty badass too. So she's pink or yellow. We'll just say pink or yellow. Kano is pretty much the monster of the week, like a traitor, double agent. I don't really feel like we have a fifth. I guess our fifth ranger would be Johnny Cage whenever he shows up. Raiden is Zordon. That's what it is. I think Shujinko would be the Green Ranger. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I'm thinking Sonya would be pink, and if Katana comes along, she'll be yellow. Nope, we're gonna reverse that because that's racist if she's Asian. So Katana would be yellow, and then Katana would be pink, and then Sonya would be yellow. That's what's gonna happen. Hi, April. You've missed a bunch. You're gonna have to go back and catch up on some of the stuff because we've been talking a bit about my opinion on this wonderful Mortal Kombat movie. That script is not finished. See, Kung Lao died. He's Beret, the Dragon Ranger. Hi, Joe. Now, if Beret was in this movie, Mortal Kombat would not be necessary because Beret would have killed everybody in like 5 minutes. Come on. Get my water truth out, guys. When the Green Ranger and Zoo Ranger showed up, it was all effing over. Like, Shao Kahn who? Like, dude was taking on literally the emissary of hell. So, do you really think the Outworld would be a concept if Beret was in this movie? No, not at all. But I'm telling you, Mortal Kombat is probably the Power Ranger movie that we needed. Like, it just is. Because Power Rangers have very questionable plots. This movie had very questionable plot with no tournament. So, yeah. I would actually, if they actually rebranded this as Power Rangers, I would not even think there would be a difference. Yeah, there'd be more gore. Because, normally when the Power Rangers get shot at or sliced or anything, they just get like a paper cut. So, it's like... Now in this movie, they're just literally chopping people's heads off and splitting them in half and ripping their arms off. So that's the difference. But then this is the Power Rangers we needed. Imagine the stakes of a Power Ranger franchise if these were the outcomes of their fights. Yeah, I think there'd be a lot of people quitting Power Rangers. Are in the series themselves. I don't think a lot of characters would continue to be Power Rangers if they stood by and watched one of the Rangers have their arms frozen and ripped off. Just letting you know. Need powers, take me to the pit. Power Rangers 2017. But Joe, one of the points that I made, which I'll probably Marco Polo you about later, was the fact that if the void was so inaccessible by Shao Kahn and anyone from Outworld, then why in the heck were they not taken there to train to begin with? I was like, you have all of this time. You just go. This is a room in the realm. The other elder gods don't care. They're all off doing their thing. Just go train, get your stuff together, collect yourself, bond, become friends, teammates, blah, 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 go, power coal. And then we'll go fight. Why would you literally put them in the one space where you knew they could get to? And they were the last fighters, the last hope for Earthrealm. I do not understand. Oh, I don't understand. Laugh out. Super Sentai is not shy about showing blood. It's not. They also are not shy about showing skin. Because my favorite reference to prove my point is an episode of Go-Go 5 where literally Doma, the cop, the Yellow Ranger who's the cop, he's chasing this criminal, and this criminal jumps on a boat, and then he pulls his pants down and smacks his bare butt at the character. And they show this. They literally show this on the episode. So kids watch this grown man butt naked slapping his butt saying na 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 pretty much. And I'm like, yep, that's Sentai. Needs powers to take him to the arena. And this reminds me of the fan-made PR movie that was super dark. I will say that. Yeah, I do remember the trailer, basically, that had my girl from Battlestar Galactica that I always... Katie Seagal, I think. Katie Seagal. You guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it does remind me of that. But it's just, I had so many questions. I just had so many questions. Sindel is Lord Zed, Shao Kahn, Master of Vile. So yeah, Rita would be Sindel, Lord Zed would be Shao Kahn. I agree with that, and Master Vile would definitely be Naga. Yeah, I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that at all. The blonde lady was badass, and she wasn't chosen. Then when she got the powers, it said she's even more badass. So yeah, Sonya Blade was always a chosen one in every other form of Mortal Kombat. This is the only time she was made to look unworthy, and I don't understand why. Considering Kano should have never even taunted her saying, oh, that was just mean. They said you can't even fight. I'm like, she literally beat your butt in the desert on the way here. That was stupid. That was stupid. But yeah. So to recap my original questions, because I had a few. So my first question was, why were they not allowed to train in the void from the beginning? My second question is, did Sub-Zero get the mark from Hanzo if Hanzo was a chosen one and that's the reason Raiden was initially coming to get him? Because if he was coming to get him, it seems like he was a chosen one. And like always throughout this entire movie, Raiden was late. Raiden was late all the time. And if he didn't get there in time and he was mortally wounded by, Sub-Zero pretty much, doesn't that mean that once he passed, that mark transferred to his killer, which was basically Sub-Zero? And that's a question that I have. My third question, are all of the descendants of Hanzo chosen ones? Are all of the descendants of his just be normal people that just did nothing, and then all of a sudden, like generations and generations and generations, in the future, that one, orphaned descendant becomes the chosen one and was born with the mark? Just have a question. Because I really need to understand that. My other question is, did the Earth realm actually win if there's no tournament? Because I thought that was the rule. You had to fight in a tournament, not on the street. They're not street fighting. They're not assassinating each other, Terminator alien style. Our Predator style. If they are just taking each other out before there even is a tournament, is that legal? How does that work in terms of the stakes? Because Outworld's already won 9 tournaments, physical tournaments, and then they just seem to be killing each other like Battle Royale. I don't know how you can determine a winner. Yes, you have some fighters in the Earth realm still standing, but they killed so many Earth realm warriors or chosen warriors that it doesn't make sense. And if it was definitely a rule, then why wasn't Raiden able to break the rules all the time? Because Shao Kahn was breaking the rules by even attacking them before the tournament and killing them. There was no repercussions for that. I don't understand that at all. So, yeah. Raiden is what Zordon should have been. Zordon is supposed to be the great and powerful wizard, and the only two times somebody broke into the command center, Zordon didn't do shit. He was in a tube. He couldn't do anything. He was like, I'm in here. Somebody do something. If Raiden can transport anyone anywhere, why didn't he transport a Sungan crew back to Outworld as we saw him do later? I know. I don't get that. Well, and then to add on to that, Joe, I said this earlier. When they first came to the temple, and he was like, you can't be here, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, no, I'm coming to kill your people and take their souls. And then he basically makes the shield. I'm like, why? What was the point to that? And then after you do that, after he did that, why did Raiden disappear like for so long? Why is it when anybody was in real danger, Raiden was nowhere to be found? Nowhere to be found. What were you doing? I don't get it. I don't get it. What's funny is it stated that taking out fighters before the tournament is against the rules, but they suffer no repercussions. So then they should have been able to train in the void where none of them could be accessible. That's how I feel about that. That is the solution to that problem. You're taking out my people. I'm going to take them back to where the elder gods reside, and we're going to hang out, and they can just train. They can use our training room. They can use our gym and fight and just train. And we'll let you guys reconvene on tournament day. What's the problem? I don't understand. And how did Jax and Sonya find the descendant of Hanzo, our chosen one, basically, before Raiden and Kung Lao and Liu Kang? Like, you would think Raiden would be like, yep, this one right here. I sent it. He's the chosen one. Kung Lao, go get him. And then Kung Lao and Sub-Zero could have had the most epic effing fight in the alleyway. That fight would have been on point, because Kung Lao was not going to go down like a bitch. I'm telling you now, he wasn't going down like that. It took Shao Kahn sucking out his soul for Kung Lao to be put down. So why did they not have this epic fight between Sub-Zero and Kung Lao? You didn't have to kill Sub-Zero. You could have injured him, and then he get more aggressive and then come back later. But I don't understand that at all. I don't understand that at all. The Elder Gods are lazy, and Raiden is bad at his job. Yep. The movie is called Mortal Kombat, and there was no tournament. I would have understood if it was a tournament, and then they try to kill when the tournament is going on. Well, see, and that's the thing. Mortal Kombat is supposed to be held only in the tournament between the realms. So right now, it's not Mortal Kombat. It was Mortal Assassination. I mean, that's what that was. They were assassinating each other, taking each other out before there was a tournament. It's really weird. It's just really weird. My theory on how they got away with breaking the rules is because the Elder Gods were too busy watching Scorpion's Revenge to pay attention to what was happening in this new MK movie. Oh, yes, there's that. And plus, Raiden was probably like, the latest K-drama is on. I know I'm not Korean, but I'm in my feelings. And also, I got to catch up with The Young and the Restless. So let me know if you need me. And I'm like, I just kept thinking the whole movie. I'm like, okay, there they go again. There they go again. There they go again. Where's Raiden? Raiden? Do you see what's happening, Raiden? Hey, Raiden. You literally said this is the last hope of Earth of these handful of people, and you're not doing anything to stop them from dying. You're just like, meh. I'm like, let them work it out. And at the end of the movie, he's just like, boom, send him back. You could have done that the whole effing time. You could have done that the whole time. But it's forbidden for him to interfere. Just like giving Cole Hanzo's dagger, and he's like, use this, and he will fight. He'll be with you to fight. Yeah, literally, that's literally like a beeper or a cell phone. I'm like, you're not using the dagger as a weapon. You're doing this to call Granddaddy from hell. Like, who you can't speak to or communicate with because you don't know Japanese because you're an orphan and you weren't raised in Japan. But yet your grandfather is having a conversation with you in Japanese and you're acting like you understand what he's saying and you have no clue what the hell's going on. You don't know what he's saying to you. He could have been like chili cheese dog from Subway, or from Sonic. You have no idea what Hanzo is actually saying, but you're just like, all right, cool. At least Sub-Zero and him didn't pretend to understand each other. Like, I hate you, and I don't even speak the language that I can say that to you in. So, yay. But yeah, this movie, I don't want people to think that I hated this movie. It is a fun movie. It's just the story is just incomplete. And there are a lot of plot holes and there are things in there that I have questions about because they don't make any sense. They just don't. They don't. And no matter how I try to rationalize it, I can't. Like, Natara being in this movie was pointless. There's no reason. Oh, my beautiful Natara. Yes, my shish kebabbed, sawed in half Natara. You literally had no role in this. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Let's see. I actually thought Raiden was going to save the daughter, raise her so she could take her revenge. That would have been an interesting story, even when she went against Sub-Zero. Yeah. Like right now, he said he saved the daughter. I'm assuming he brought her to a temple or a monastery. So why is Cole an orphan? What happened through those generations that he has no clue who he is or who his family was? That's very interesting to me. Like, and then what realm was the daughter taken to? I mean, we know it was Earth realm, but like what part of Earth realm was the daughter still in Japan? I mean, we have no idea. We have no idea. And I know it's generations, but I mean, it's just interesting to me that there's no real backstory for anything in Cole's past outside of us knowing that Hanzo is his great grandfather. Very weird. Yet when Shang was about to have Sub and Scorp attack the trio in 95, Raiden zapped him back saying, F you, that's not allowed. Yep. This Raiden's like, it is forbidden to interfere, the Elder Guards to interfere. It's also forbidden for Shao Kahn and anyone from Outworld to engage at all with anyone from the Earth Realm before the tournament. But killing is fine. I said no engaging, just taking them completely out. Yeah, we don't care. There's no repercussions. The other Elder Guards are just like, meh, not a problem. So, yeah, I think the Mortal Kombat movie makes the stakes higher knowing that they have incompetent Elder Gods. Like, we really are on our own. Oh, Power Rangers. To me, it looked like he took her to the same temple they occupied. Yes, that was the Power Ranger Command Center. Somewhere in there, Zordon is in the tube. I'm just saying. And Cole is their leader. I'm like, that's all I really got. So yeah, I'm taking a few more questions, guys, but there's really nothing else I can say about Mortal Kombat. Again, I did like it. I liked the CG. I liked everything. I liked everything except for the story. And I wish I didn't say that because I was really looking forward to this movie, and I will watch this movie again. I'm not gonna lie. I will definitely watch this movie again. I just will not be watching it for the story because there's nothing to watch really in terms of that. I just want to see the fight scenes again. It's basically what it is. When Sub-Zero killed Scorpion, he teleported and didn't die, or he did, but somewhere else. When Sub-Zero killed Hanzo, he went to the Netherworld. He went to hell, basically. And hell for him, just for Hanzo, hell is an easy bake oven with a recipe called Scorpion. And it kept baking him until he was ready to come back. That's literally what happened to him. Who is the PR equivalent of Shang Tsung? PR? Because technically speaking, is a good question, actually. That is a very good question. Let me think about that for a minute. I have ideas because because the problem with Shang Tsung is that he is a shapeshifter, and the only one that I know in PR lore who is a shapeshifter is Mystic Force Pink. So that would be Vita. That's funny. And well, in Sentai, we had a few that could change their appearance. There were a lot of characters that would change their appearance, but the only true henshin ones are, again, Maju Ranger Hoka. So Hoka Pink, or Maji Pink, Hoka Ozu. So technically, yeah, I guess Shang Tsung's equivalent is Power Rangers is Mystic Force Pink. That's funny. Someone on YouTube will compile the fight scenes, and there's no need to watch it again. Yeah, that's actually very true. It's true. I will say though, giving all the characters semblances, like in Ruby, is an interesting turn. Because I mean, you're relating that a lot to different properties, like X-Men getting their mutant abilities, metahumans in the DC universe. Again, Ruby semblances. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get or what powers you're going to have, and so that is interesting. And then I guess just like Power Rangers, they instantly know how to use their abilities. Like instantly, once they have it, they just know how to do it. Just like Cole instantly knowing ninjutsu, instantly knowing it, even though he was an MMA fighter. Because the power of his bloodline is so strong, the ninjutsu must just be there. All the moves, everything you need to know about ninjutsu, that takes people almost their entire lifetime to achieve. You learned it in 30 minutes. So, yeah. Instead of watching this movie again, do yourself a favor and watch Scorpion's Revenge. I am going to check that out. I need to see what it's on. I'll look at the trailer and see if they have it streaming on any of my multiple streaming platforms, so I can check that out. Because yeah, I do need to have some kind of closure to Mortal Kombat. I don't know, guys. Mortal Kombat, aka Go Power Combat. Power Combat, Mortal Rangers, Go Mortal Rangers. I'm going to change the thumbnail to Go Mortal Rangers. Or the Power Rangers movie we needed. Because that's literally what this felt like. Raiden was so Zordon. He was just shady and sus and kept disappearing. Half the time I thought maybe he was doubling as Shao Kahn. I'm like, he's like, I got to put the beard back on. And I'm like, take off the hat. Everybody's journey in this is confusing. I don't understand the connection, but they're instantly a team. Power Rangers. I'm like, sometimes they're friends. Sometimes they don't even effing know each other. Power Rangers. So much. This man did not make a Mortal Kombat movie. He made a Power Ranger movie. That is what I'm going to say. Because Power Rangers is full of plot holes, and so was this. So, yeah. How does Maria feel? It was one of the best Power Ranger movies I've seen in a while. Yeah. I think after this comment, I'm going to end it with that, because that's what that is. It was one of the best Power Ranger movies I've seen. Liu Kang is supposed to be that dude that even other badasses don't want to step on. Yeah, Liu Kang got stepped on by everybody, including himself. So he's a Power Ranger in training. He got downgraded from the Red Ranger to the Blue Ranger. That's just what happened. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry, Liu Kang. Character assassination is never a fun thing. Ask Lynn in Black Lightning. She didn't like it either. But yeah, we are almost to an hour and a half, guys. You guys have been awesome. I'm sorry that this stream is cut a little bit shorter. Again, the weather is kicking my butt, so I'm not feeling that great. And I'm sorry we started late because we were having router issues, but everything is fixed, so that's good. So there shouldn't be any dropping of frames or lagging or any of that poop that normally happens, hopefully. But yeah. Very, very fun movie. Very, very fun time. I think I had more fun talking to you guys about it than I did watching the movie. So hopefully, if you have any questions, concerns, theories, just general statements about this movie, you know by now that you can put it in the comments and that this top chat will disappear. So I will not see it after this top chat goes away. So anything you want to tell me or ask or suggest, please put it in the comments below. I'm still doing my Winona Earp review. It is coming, so you'll have that either on Sunday or Monday. And I also, for my other channel, Approach to Uri, we'll be doing a video as well. So more videos coming, guys. More videos coming. And then eventually, sometime this week, you're just going to randomly see a Fate Wink Saga video just pop up. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. So just be on the lookout for that too. But yay, I'm going to go take a nap. You guys have been great. Have a very good rest of your Saturday, or if it's Sunday for you, very good Sunday. And I will talk to you guys later.